Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of wisdom and truth, love is one of the most powerful forces known to humanity. It has inspired the greatest works of art, the most moving poetry, and the most courageous acts of sacrifice. Yet, love has also led to despair, destruction, and suffering. Why? Because love is not just an emotion, it is a battleground between passion and reason. And as Stoics we must ask ourselves, how do we navigate love wisely? The Stoics teach that passion and reason must be carefully balanced. Passion, when left unchecked, enslaves the soul. It blinds us, drags us into jealousy, obsession, and irrationality. We see it in those who lose themselves in love, who let their emotions override their judgment, who suffer because they expect love to be something external that will complete them. But love, in its highest form, is not possession. It is not about control. True love, from a Stoic perspective, is rooted in virtue, in reason, in the recognition that love should elevate, not consume. Does this mean the Stoic rejects love? Not at all. The Stoic embraces love, but with wisdom. Love is not the enemy. Attachment is. When we love with reason, we love without neediness, without fear, without the desire to control another. We love as the sun gives light, not expecting anything in return, but shining because it is in our nature to do so. A Stoic does not say, "I cannot live without this person." Instead he says, "I choose to love, knowing that all things in life are temporary." A Stoic does not love out of desperation, but out of strength. He or she understands that love should align with virtue, honesty, respect, kindness, and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And what is love, if not an extension of our thoughts? If our thoughts are virtuous, our love will be virtuous. If our thoughts are ruled by passion alone, our love will be chaotic. Love is one of the most profound forces in human life, capable of inspiring acts of incredible kindness, sacrifice, and creativity. It has been the foundation of great works of literature, music, and philosophy, driving individuals to achieve greatness beyond themselves. When love is guided by wisdom and reason, it can bring deep fulfillment, strengthen relationships, and encourage personal growth. However, love that is solely driven by unchecked passion can lead to suffering. When people allow emotions to override their judgment, they may experience jealousy, insecurity, and emotional turmoil. Love without balance can turn into obsession, making individuals lose themselves in their desire for another. The key is to cultivate love in a way that enhances rather than diminishes our well-being. If we approach love with both passion and reason, we can experience its beauty without being consumed by it. True love should uplift rather than overwhelm, providing strength and harmony instead of chaos and distress. Passion, when left unchecked, has the power to take control of the mind and lead a person into emotional turmoil. While emotions are a natural part of being human, they can easily become overpowering if not guided by reason. Love that is driven solely by passion can make individuals act irrationally, clouding their judgment and causing them to lose perspective. Jealousy often arises when one becomes overly attached, fearing loss or betrayal, even when there is no reason to. Obsession can take hold, making a person dependent on another for their happiness and self-worth. This kind of emotional entrapment can lead to destructive behaviors, constant worry, possessiveness, and impulsive decisions that harm both the individual and the relationship. Instead of experiencing love as something uplifting, they become prisoners of their own emotions, unable to find peace. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes from mastering one's emotions, not being ruled by them. Love should be a source of joy and growth, not an overwhelming force that enslaves the soul. Reason is the guiding force that ensures love remains a source of harmony rather than chaos. While emotions are a natural part of love, they must be tempered by wisdom to prevent unnecessary suffering. When love is rooted in reason, It is built on understanding, respect and clarity, rather than impulse or blind passion. It allows individuals to see their relationships objectively, recognizing both their strengths and weaknesses, without being consumed by unrealistic expectations. Love guided by wisdom prevents misunderstandings, jealousy, and possessiveness, because it acknowledges that true connection cannot be forced or controlled. Instead of allowing fleeting emotions to dictate actions, a person who applies reason to love approaches it with patience and self-awareness. They do not seek fulfillment through another, but rather view love as a partnership where both individuals grow together. In contrast, love without reason often leads to heartbreak, as it is based on illusions, attachments, and emotional dependency. The Stoics understood that love, like all things in life, must align with virtue and self-control to bring genuine fulfillment. By allowing reason to shape love, we can experience deeper, more meaningful connections that are not driven by fear or insecurity, but by mutual respect and wisdom. Attachment, not love itself, is the true source of suffering in relationships. Stoicism teaches that while love is natural and even virtuous, clinging to another person out of fear, insecurity, or a need for validation leads to pain. Many people mistake attachment for love, believing that they cannot be happy without the presence or approval of a particular person. This creates a dependency that can result in jealousy, possessiveness, and emotional turmoil. When love is based on attachment, it is fragile, easily shaken by distance, change, or loss. A Stoic approach to love encourages us to care deeply for others while maintaining inner stability. To love without attachment means to appreciate someone fully while accepting that nothing in life is permanent. It means loving freely, not out of fear of losing, but out of the genuine desire to give and share. This kind of love is not needy or controlling, but strong, independent, and rooted in virtue. A Stoic does not seek to possess another person, but rather values them for who they are, recognizing that they are not responsible for our happiness. By letting go of attachment, we free ourselves from suffering and allow love to flourish in its purest form. We become capable of experiencing deep connections without being consumed by fear or desperation. True love, in the Stoic sense, is a gift we give, not a burden we place on others. It is a relationship built on respect, not possession, a love that is strong because it does not rely on anything external for its existence. True love, according to Stoic philosophy, is not just an emotion or a fleeting passion, it is an act of virtue. It is not about possession, control, or fulfilling selfish desires, but rather about embodying qualities such as honesty, respect, kindness, and wisdom. Love that is rooted in virtue seeks the well-being of the other person, not just personal gratification. It is not driven by insecurity, jealousy, or the need to be completed by another, but by a deep sense of care and understanding. Honesty in love means being truthful with both ourselves and our partners, not deceiving them or manipulating them for personal gain. Respect means recognizing the autonomy of the other person, allowing them to be who they are, without attempting to change or control them. Kindness ensures that love is expressed through compassion, patience, and a willingness to support and uplift, rather than to criticize or diminish. Wisdom allows love to be guided by reason, rather than blind passion, ensuring that it remains steady and enduring even through challenges. When love aligns with virtue, it becomes a source of strength rather than suffering. It is not about what we can take from another, but what we can give. It is not based on external circumstances, but on an internal commitment to act with integrity and goodness. This kind of love does not fade when difficulties arise, because it is built on a foundation of character rather than impulse. By practicing virtuous love, we create relationships that are not only meaningful, but also contribute to the growth and well-being of both individuals involved. Love, when approached with wisdom and virtue, should serve as a source of growth and strength, not a force that weakens or consumes us. True love elevates, It inspires us to become better individuals, helping us cultivate patience, kindness and resilience. It should not leave us feeling lost, dependent or broken, but rather more complete within ourselves. When love is rooted in virtue, it encourages mutual support and self-improvement, allowing both individuals to flourish. However, love can become destructive when it turns into an all-consuming obsession, where one's happiness and identity are entirely dependent on another person. Love that consumes is often fueled by insecurity, possessiveness, or fear of loss. It can lead to emotional instability, where the highs are exhilarating, but the lows are unbearable. This kind of love drains rather than nourishes, creating relationships based on need rather than mutual respect. When love weakens us, it distracts us from our purpose, clouds our judgment, and can even lead to suffering. The Stoics teach that love should be guided by reason and virtue so that it remains a positive force in our lives. A love that elevates allows both people to grow independently while supporting each other. It encourages self-sufficiency, understanding that true happiness comes from within, not from another person. Love should help us become more virtuous, wiser, and more emotionally balanced. When we love in a way that aligns with Stoic principles, we do not lose ourselves in another. We find a greater version of ourselves. True love strengthens, uplifts, and provides harmony, not chaos. It should never be a burden that weighs us down, but a force that helps us rise. Expectation is one of the greatest sources of suffering in love. When we enter a relationship believing that another person will complete us, fulfill all our emotional needs, or bring us permanent happiness, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The reality is that no one else can be responsible for our inner peace or sense of self-worth. These are things we must cultivate within ourselves. Stoicism teaches us that external circumstances, including relationships, are beyond our complete control. If we tie our happiness to another person's actions, feelings or presence, we make ourselves vulnerable to pain, because people change, situations evolve, and nothing in life is permanent. Unrealistic expectations often lead to frustration, resentment, and suffering. When we expect love to always be easy, for our partner to never disappoint us, or for relationships to stay the same forever, we create illusions that reality cannot sustain. Disappointment arises not because love itself is flawed, but because our expectations were not aligned with the nature of life. Love is imperfect, and so are people. When we demand that others meet all our needs, or behave exactly as we wish, we set ourselves up for inevitable heartbreak. Instead of expecting love to complete us, Stoicism encourages us to view love as something that complements our already whole selves. A relationship should be a partnership between two individuals who are strong on their own, but choose to walk together. By releasing expectations, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to control what we cannot. Love becomes something we give freely, not something we demand in return. This mindset allows us to appreciate love for what it is, a beautiful but ever-changing aspect of life, rather than becoming attached to what we think it should be. When we let go of expectations, we can experience love with gratitude and presence, rather than fear and disappointment. Love in its highest form is not about dependency or desperation, it is about choice. When we believe that we need someone to be happy, we surrender our inner stability to an external force that we cannot control. This creates a fragile foundation for love, where fear of loss overshadows genuine connection. Love that is rooted in need can lead to possessiveness, jealousy, and emotional suffering, because it is based on the belief that we are incomplete without the other person. Stoicism teaches us that true fulfillment comes from within, not from another individual. A Stoic does not say, "I cannot live without them," because that would imply that their happiness and sense of self are entirely dependent on someone else. Instead, a Stoic says, "I choose to love with wisdom," recognizing that love should be a conscious decision, rather than a desperate necessity. When love is a choice rather than a need, it is given freely, and without fear. A person who chooses to love does so from a place of strength, not weakness. They do not seek to control or possess their partner, but rather to appreciate and support them. They recognize that while love is a meaningful and valuable part of life, it is not something they are entitled to, nor is it something that defines their worth. This perspective allows love to be a source of joy rather than anxiety. Moreover, love as a choice means accepting impermanence. A Stoic understands that relationships may change, that people grow in different directions, and that loss is always a possibility. But instead of fearing this reality, they embrace it with gratitude. They love in the present, without clinging to the illusion that love must last forever to be meaningful. By choosing love with wisdom, we free ourselves from emotional turmoil, and instead experience love as it should be, pure, voluntary, and virtuous. Nothing in life is permanent, and love is no exception. Everything we experience, relationships, emotions, even life itself, is in a constant state of change. Stoicism teaches that resisting this natural flow leads to suffering. When we expect love to remain unchanged or to last forever, we set ourselves up for disappointment. People grow, circumstances shift, and relationships evolve. Clinging to the idea that love must always stay the same creates anxiety and fear, making us desperate to hold on, even when change is inevitable. By accepting impermanence, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. We begin to appreciate love for what it is, a beautiful but temporary gift, rather than something we own or control. Instead of worrying about when a relationship might end, we learn to be fully present in the moments we have. Love becomes an experience we cherish in the present, not something we obsess over securing for the future. This shift in perspective allows us to love more deeply, without attachment or desperation. Understanding impermanence also helps us handle heartbreak with wisdom and resilience. When love changes or comes to an end, we do not see it as a tragedy, but as a natural part of life's cycle. Instead of resisting or mourning the past indefinitely, we accept and move forward, grateful for what was rather than broken by what is no longer. Love is meaningful not because it lasts forever, but because we fully experience it while it does. The Stoic approach teaches us that embracing impermanence is not a loss, it is a path to true emotional freedom. Virtuous love is selfless because it is given freely, without expectation or the desire to control another. Like the sun shining upon the earth, love should be a natural expression of our character, not something we withhold or manipulate to serve our own interests. When love is rooted in virtue, it is motivated by kindness, respect, and a genuine wish for the other person's well-being, rather than personal gain. This kind of love does not demand repayment, obedience, or validation. It simply exists as an act of giving. Many people approach love with a transactional mindset, expecting something in return for their affection, whether it be loyalty, attention, or reassurance. This leads to conditional love, where emotions are used as leverage rather than shared as a gift. Stoicism teaches that true love is not about possessing or controlling another person, but about appreciating them for who they are. Love should not be used as a tool for dominance, manipulation, or personal fulfillment. Instead, it should be an extension of virtue, an expression of wisdom, generosity, and strength. A Stoic does not love in order to receive something in return, but because love itself is an act of goodness. When we love selflessly, we remove fear, jealousy, and attachment from the equation. We do not become dependent on the actions or feelings of another person to validate our own worth. Instead, we love with the understanding that we cannot control others, only our own choices. This perspective allows love to be pure and liberating, rather than a source of suffering. Like the sun, which shines regardless of whether it is noticed or appreciated, virtuous love does not waver based on external circumstances. It is steady, strong, and given freely, not because we need to love, but because it is in our nature to do so. Love, when guided by wisdom and virtue, becomes one of the most powerful forces in life, not something that weakens us, but something that elevates and strengthens us. The Stoics teach us that true love is not about attachment, control, or dependency, but about freedom, selflessness, and the choice to love with clarity and purpose. When we embrace love with reason, we free ourselves from fear and disappointment, allowing us to experience it in its purest form. So let us love not with desperation, but with strength. Let us love not to possess, but to appreciate. Let us love not with expectation, but with gratitude. By choosing to love wisely, we transform our relationships into something enduring, not because they will last forever, but because they are built on virtue, respect, and the deep understanding that true love, in the end, is a reflection of the best within us.